Hey, what's up? Yo, Jefe's back. We got birds in the background. I love having the door open and all these little critters just chirping away. Let me know if it's distracting. I'll close the door. But all right, so we just did that pickup chapter. So now I'll get into crossing book 7, I think. No. Yeah, book 7. Crossing the gap. All right. What I'm puffing on. Whoa. Well, anyway, this is called Duct Tape, and it's from Blue Star. Get into Blue Star. It's good. It's an indica. It's choice, baby. Feels good. Feels real good. All right. Crossing the Gap. Chapter 1. Jaws, unclip, on 3. The captain bellowed into his helmet mic as he gripped the magnetic sled's vertical arms. Around him in a tight semicircle, the heroes and Faline stood, gripping their own metal bars and steeling themselves for transport. 1, 2, the sled shuddered, its stored kinetic energy humming beneath their feet. 3. The captain let go of the control bar and slammed the airlock trigger. The door burst open, splitting in an instant. The sled erupted outward and flew silently across the gap between ships. The sled was essentially a platform connected to 3 huge triangles, dangling from a series of cabled wires, of Zentride make by the looks of them. Lights whizzed across their visors as the sled drove hard against the surface of the enemy vessel, cracking with a mighty, soundless thunk. The name of the vessel shone out. Whoa. The name of the vessel shone out in brightly tinted gold above their position. MX 818 Sturmvolk. The sled's gears sheared and squealed, metal against metal as the hooks dug in. As the central platform lowered, it magnetized. The arm rails spread out in a strangely beautiful yellow spiral, ending at a 90-degree angle, each person hanging weightless against it, looking at the meteorite-pocked skin of the ship. A long, thick cable connected them all at the waist. As the tension slackened, the free length snapped and wriggled around them. Faline began reeling it in and tightening it around a free-floating central hub. That was a lot of words. Did any of that make sense? I don't know. I'm trying to paint a word picture here. I see it perfectly, but whatever. The captain is still in the airlock. Like he was there, but I mean, I don't know. He's not in the boarding party. That could probably be clearer. I don't know. Anyway, back to it. Faline was in command. Armed with the largest guns, she would protect the hub and direct the others into position. She cut a terrifying figure, even in a black and gold, mostly formless spacesuit. A veritable arsenal of guns encircling her torso beneath a shimmering personal shield. Ayana's breath swirled around her face before being sucked in by the helmet's recycler. She crossed herself mentally and prayed a silent prayer for calm. The party stood still, Faline's gold eyes scanning their own with grim focus. The shot had been nearly perfect, The Sturmvolk's airlock was mere yards from their position. Activating the magnets in her suit, Faline left the sled and marched slowly towards the door. Hell yeah. Let me hit that fucking weed. Duct tape. Duct tape. That's good. All right. Crossing the gap. Chapter 2. Oi! Are you fuckers ready to get piratical? Faline shook the central hub and hollered into her helmet mic, much louder than was necessary. She seemed positively bloodthirsty, as if violence was the only thing she lived for. Ayanna saw a glimpse of the image many men must project onto her, some sort of proud, untamed beast. The men in her team would probably watch her every move throughout the mission. It's probably why she likes to be in control. Anyway, her plans, her strategy. All Ayanna wanted to do was take care of their enemies, soak them for information, or both. Goddess B, though, she is crazed. They were likely mercenaries, boys, fathers, nobodies. She reminded herself that all beings deserve the light of the mother's love. But she couldn't help but direct her fury at these casual murderers. It took every ounce of training not to let anger guide her actions. Follow orders. That's what she would do. It's what the captain expects. All riders serve at the will of the captain. It's just how things were. In space, all that matters is your power and how you choose to wield it. Your station is decided by your usefulness to the captain. And Ayanna had plenty of experience serving the will of her betters. Blessed be Zora. Peace and blessings be upon her. Faline slammed a boot on the hull and lifted her multi-tool, its blue surface reflecting the shimmering glow of the central hub. Sophros lifted a finger to his lips, as if to tell the woman to be quiet. She did not oblige. Listen, you shits! I'm in charge, so pay attention. You, she glared at Sophros, do not question my actions. I command at the will of the captain. She lifted her bag of tools out of the storage web. We make noise on contact. Let the boardees know we're coming. Give them a chance to surrender. Throwing the sack of tools over her shoulder, she lumbered over the outside rail. Everything was insanely, brazenly quiet. Ayanna had flown many times, but rarely had she studied the workers aboard ships. It had not been her job to observe people as individuals. Now that she was in this mess, perhaps she could use her knowledge of the workers she'd served with on Antares to inform her interactions with Faline and the others. Ayanna was not practiced at spacewalking. It was more like swimming through fish guts than water. She felt packed in by the suit, squished around by kinetic puffers, tiny engines that correct for sudden movements, and eventually was soaked with sweat from laboring to stay upright. She'd heard more than one tale of someone pissing or shitting themselves mid-walk. Luckily, these suits were equipped with environmental aid packages, so that wouldn't be a problem. The walk went great until it didn't. Fuck yeah. Chapter 4. Joran slash Sophris. Bounty Hunter, I am here. What in the hell? Joran was flummoxed. It was as if Sophris wasn't just talking in his headset, but rather inside his helmet, or even his own head. I am speaking to you from the void. I come to bring you promise of safety. What is happening? Is this real? The cable provides for communication despite the vacuum. By linking our services, the woman has also linked our spirits. I will be beside you at all times. Just me? Not everyone? Yes. No. Yes. No. I get it. It's complicated. Listen, Sophris, I don't trust any of these assholes. Maybe the priestess. Anyway, this chick is dangerous. She can probably fuck like a pony, but she could also break your neck like a twig. She's got enhancements. Sophra studied Faline. What will we do if she turns against us? Jorn pondered, stepping lightly between rails, circling the metal flower to the far side where Faline was marching. The link of the chain pulsed once, pulling Joran in Phaline's direction. We fuck her ass up. Work for you? Silence. Yes. See that? All right. Next up is book 8, Piercing the Hull. That's kind of a sexy title for a book. I'm probably going to change these naming conventions or whatever. It might be too confusing. Because if I'm going to name them like this, at some point I started just doing it by their names, just chapter after chapter by their names. But it looks like here in the first book, day 1, I was trying to title these different sections. And so if they're going to be short like this, welcome to Production Notes with Jeff Richardson. Piercing the Hull, Part 1. Captain, we're 10 meters out. Come in, Captain. Silence. A few clicks and buzzes. Ayanna could hear Phaline's shallow, halting breaths. For all her intense bravado, Phaline was human after all. The intercom sparked to life. Signs of life. Over. Sorry. I'm trying to figure out who's saying because I don't do it enough. The intercom sparked to life. Signs of life. Over. Nothing yet. Anything on the sensors? Over. Negative. Proceed with caution, sailor. Phaline turned back and waved 2 fingers left, 1 to the right. Ayanna went right. Sophris and Joran went left. Something felt wrong about the decision, but Ayanna stuck to the plan. Follow orders. Numerius, the Zentradi navigator, popped in on the call. I'm getting a strange energy reading on your flank, Phaline. Some kind of bubble. Not sure the source. Over? Phaline scanned the area, her eyes meeting Ayanna's. Stargazer, see anything? Ayanna saw nothing unusual, but she felt something. Like a bubble, the skin of the ship had begun to swell, as if the hull itself was becoming pregnant. Looking about, she realized what it was. It was centered on her position and spreading 2, maybe 3 meters out. She closed her eyes tightly, prayed fervently to the goddess, and hurled herself away from the hull. A split second later, and the bubble exploded. She flew up and over the party in a lazy arc, shielded by her goddess's protection. A massive burst of shrapnel and multicolored garbage erupted beneath her, spilling outward in a colorful parabolic arc, trailing whimsically between both ships as they drifted slowly through the void. Your mercy, you are unharmed. It was Sophros, such a warm voice, as calming as a mountain stream. Yes, be on guard, my friend. I cannot see behind me. Captain, we have a situation here, over. Faline swung Aeonna's section of the line around one shoulder and charged toward the crater, hammer in hand. Proceed with caution. Casualty report. Aeonna clicked on her intercom with a breath. Startled but unharmed, Captain. Just catching my breath at the moment. Over. As Faline leapt into the freshly emptied garbage compartment, Aeonna felt the tug on the line. She held her ankles together, smoothed out her suit, and slowly started to climb back into formation. Down on the surface of the vessel, Joran gave her the thumbs up. She smiled and mused silently. Well, that could have gone much worse. My lady, are you hurt? Aeonna welcomed Grundle's voice, but she knew the captain would be irritated by the intrusion. Protocol must be maintained in such situations. She pictured the captain and the navigator shooting him baleful looks. Luckily, Grundle had very thick skin. Chapter 2. All clear, Captain. Faline was hunkered at the door of the exploded garbage compartment, magnetic boots powered, scanning the interior wall. Keypad is fried, over. Celine and Joran reached the edge of the opening and reeled Aeonna in. Joran's gun hand fluttered anxiously over his holdout pistol. Thraxus had recommended a bloodless operation, but Joran wasn't fucking around. As the priestess landed between them, Faline held up a hand. They stood in silent apprehension. Captain, there appears to be a safety shield unit just outside the compartment. We may be able to trigger it with a remote pulse. Numerius spoke on the open line to keep everyone informed. Excellent. Faline, get everyone into the hold. We'll use the hub to localize the signal. If anything goes sideways, abort. Abort. Yes, Captain. Over. The trio hopped up briefly and then glided down into the hold, actuators pulsing behind them like tiny oil derricks wicking off fumes. So, that was 2 books. I really should just start calling these chapters and the numbers parts. Ah, man. Shit. Well, Piercing the Hull was book 8. The Arrival. Let's just do it. The Arrival. 1. The chapter is The Arrival, part 1. Yeah, I'll do it parts. Yeah, I'll do it like parts. Yeah, like parts. Why did I say it like that? It's terrible. Find me on Twitter at El Jefe Tacoma. Everything is awesome at EIA Podcast. You know all the rest. Rate, review, subscribe. Tell your friends. Shattered Worlds, Day 1. Read by the man himself. That me.